welcome back to Total Spotfest. JJ Brownlee, Jamie Faulkner, back at you again. Lots of stuff going on in the past week. We had some pay-per-views happening, some sad news, more spooky seasons going on. So we're gonna
definitely a roller coaster.
It definitely was a high and low of emotions within the past week. So we're gonna get all into it here. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate you giving us some of your time as always. You're not lying, Jamie. This past week, especially over the weekend, has been a whole lot of ups and downs.
You know, lots of good things, lots of bad things. I mean, one thing's for sure. The Chiefs did not get blown out.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Hey, what happened? Wow, that was really hostile.
Yeah, well, it's okay. You didn't get blown out. You did barely beat the Raiders. I will say that.
Well, historically, over the past 10, we've only beat them by less than 7 points in 8 of the 10. So,
touche. I mean,
it's a divisional opponent. You know that as well. Any Steeler fan is a divisional opponent when it's the Cleveland Browns who totally suck. Oh, and they barely beat them by 3.
Fuck the Browns. Yeah, no, I hear you. You know, next week is definitely the measuring stick for you guys, 100%. You know, because
I think we'll be fine.
I think it's going to be a fantastic game.
Chiefs by 4.
I have no opinion. I do want to say this: Viva la hockey season! Blues hosting Columbus this Friday. Thank God.
It was a bad week for sports for you, buddy.
Oh, you saw my week. I tweeted out over the weekend a picture of this adorable little pupper doing a Superman pose in like a yoga stretch, and I was like, I needed this because Mizzou lost another game that they should have won. Steelers did whatever they did up there, and then Cardinals, their new tradition of just bowing out. You know, it's like, hey, we're in the playoffs. See ya, and just bowed out. So it was not a good sports weekend in JJ's house, that's for sure. So plus wrestling happened, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. But yeah, it was for what it's worth. We talked about this, you know. I mean, I've been seeing my chiropractor, and my sciatica's feeling better, but you know, sports wise, not so hot, not so good.
Sports are great for me. I mean, we did lose, but we had the backup quarterback go in there and actually throw very well, and we're still ranked somehow. So hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. It did surprise me that you didn't drop. Like, I didn't figure they'd get knocked out of the top 25.
They didn't budge.
They didn't move. And it's like, yes, they lost to a team that was 2 spots higher than them. Sure, I give you.
But if it wasn't for a couple bad calls towards the end, like they were not calling any holding or anything like that defensively on both sides.
Sounds like the Big 12. Let's be honest.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But, you know, like I'm not gonna say like there's a couple of things that could have happened. Like, oh, I don't know, stop number 1. But I digress.
It is what it is. You know, the good news is that, you know, Oklahoma looks like complete dog shit, so you'll probably beat them this year with no problem this week. And then
be beautiful. I love Oklahoma softball. Cannot stand Oklahoma football.
Who can? Other than, let me ask you this: other than, unless those who went to school at Oklahoma, you know, who out there? Anybody out there listening? Oklahoma football fan? Who? We digress. So let's dive into it. So
let's talk a little wrestling.
Let's talk some wrestling. Over the weekend, whole lot going on. So we had 2 pay-per-views, and I do want to apologize for one thing off the clip. So we mentioned last week that we are going to be having the total Spotfest, pay-per-view pick, title back on the line because Impact Wrestling had one of their keystone events, Bound for Glory. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get around to it. So there was a lot happening, which we're going to get into in just a few moments here. A lot happening this past Friday. So we didn't actually get to do picks and everything for Bound for Glory. So our apologies for those out there who are looking to see some bickering between Jamie and I. We can still do that. We do that anyway. But the title did not go up for grabs. Now, as far as the pay-per-view itself, it was a decent pay-per-view. Wasn't necessarily one of their highlights. I think their earlier pay-per-views beginning of the year were much better. You had a couple changes. You had women's tag titles changed. Taya Valkyrie and Jessica. I still don't 100% get that, but what are they, Death Dolls or the Demon Dolls?
Yeah, the Death Dolls. Death Dolls because they came out with Rosemary.
Right, Rosemary. It's like a New Day thing, you know. They beat Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Tag Team Championship. You did have a new X Division champion, Frankie Kazarian, beat Speedball Mike Bailey, which is probably one of the best matches of the night.
It's a bit of a surprise, to be honest with you.
A little bit of a surprise, considering he's technically still under contract with AEW, so there's that. Mm-hmm. The match that I was most excited for ended up, it was fine, but Masha Slamovich did not conquer Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace retained the Impact Women's Championship. Josh Alexander retained the Impact World title. So, not a ton of surprises in that there, but we didn't actually get around to doing picks because and I don't know why, but Bound for Glory was on a Friday evening.
That's weird. It was weird.
It was weird all around. Like Saturday I can get, for whatever reason though, it was on a Friday evening. And to be completely truthful, Friday was an odd day for us. So Friday marked the day that we got bad news as it comes, or the world, got bad news as our good friends over at Journey Pro tweeted out, made it official that unfortunately, moving forward, one final show in December, but Journey Pro is no more. It's going under.
It hurts. That one hurts. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, we've made so many friends.
Yeah.
From that, hell, like, if it wasn't for Journey Pro, I don't think I would have had necessarily the fire and want to start doing this podcast. I mean, granted, when we started it, they weren't back in business yet, but it's just one of those things that it was just one of I can't describe it, and they've been so good to us, Walter, DJ, Chris, and Hartzell. I think he's been on once, but
right.
They've all been really great to us, and the wrestlers have been absolutely great. We made some great friendships through wrestling as well. Like, I consider JDX a friend, and I consider Heidi a friend, and I consider SK and all them friends. Like, that we talk to them, and
right.
They give us shit, and lots of great people there, and it's just sad to see, but I understand.
I mean, it is what it is, and it's like we are very close, and me definitely very close with Chris, and I got I get where they're coming from, specifically Chris and Walter for sure. But I mean, I get where they're coming from. Hey, independent wrestling promotions, it's a tough gig. Funniest, and I know it's an old running gag joke, right? But you ask anybody who runs a wrestling promotion whatsoever, right? What advice? I've heard Effie say this. I've heard Zicky, Dice. I've heard everybody, right? It's like, hey, what advice would you give somebody who wants to start a wrestling promotion? The answer always is don't, right? It's a joke, but it's not. It's a tough gig to get there, and we have long felt that need here in Kansas City, right? We were long looking for something, right? You and I, since we became friends, a decade ago. It's like, hey, we're both like wrestling. We talk about wrestling. It's like we'd love to see something local, right? And then we found NWL, yay, wrestling, and then they go under, and it's like, okay. And then it's like after a little bit, it's like, oh wait, they're kind of back, but it's different. It's called Journey Pro. Like, yay, more wrestling. And then COVID happens. And so, yeah. But no, Journey Pro is back again. And then you got new ownership involved. And it just, it is what it is. It's a tough business. We definitely understand. But you're right. I definitely feel like, especially this past, really 9 months, I would say, past year, 9 months. It does hurt. It does hurt quite a bit because, I mean, it feels like they feel like family. They really do. I remember going to the shows, and not just Chris and Walter, Hartzell, everybody else, but the wrestlers, but also the lifelong friends we made there. And, it's like, some people, that's the only time we see. We see them once a month. We see them at the Journey Pro show, right? Talk on Twitter or whatever. It does hurt. But, hey, that's such is life. And we wish everybody involved with Journey Pro the best moving forward. But it is definitely a knife to the heart.
Yeah, it hurts. Like I said, it's just... Can't make everybody want to be there. Can't make everybody who is there do what they need to do. I mean, it's just like a regular business. Like it's business, people. Like it's just one of those things. Like, it takes a village to run one of these things. It was definitely one of the things that I noticed right off the cuff. Yeah. Like when we started really getting in there, it's like, oh yeah, like they might say they're a promoter, but they got like 12 people helping them and do those things, and when that number dwindles down, it does make it difficult, and at that point, it's sustainability for not only the company, but the people who run it, and it's just, I get it. I understand, and it hurts, but I think at the end, everybody who's involved will be better. And the next iteration that happens to come, because there will be another version of Journey or NWL that's going to come. It's going to be hopefully just as good, and we'll see lots of women's wrestling in Kansas City. I'm a big proponent of that.
It's a slight thing at a CSW, but okay. CSW is fine, but yeah, they've had one women's match in their existence.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
You take that for what it's worth.
It will.
But yeah, no, anyway. All the love in the world to Walter and Chris. You guys just keep on keeping on for sure.
100%. And we'll always be out there. I mean, we are big proponents. That's not going to stop us from doing wrestling. It's gonna, for the short term, maybe do some more.
Make us travel.
It's gonna make us travel more. I mean, you might do some CSW. We'll see what happens, but definitely gonna travel some. We're going to, like we mentioned last week, we're going to St. Louis end of the month here for our first Glory Pro show, which we definitely should have probably been to one of those already.
We almost went like 3 times. We've never pulled the trigger, and then finally, like, hey, you got anything going on this day? No.
Let's just do it. Let's just go, right? You know. So definitely doing that. Wrestling Revolver's out there. Anarchy still kicking it, you know. And you're right. Something will come along in Kansas City. I like we've long said, this is not a wrestling, you know, like island out in the middle of nowhere. There is a history of good wrestling promotions inside Kansas City in this general area. Something will come, fill its place, and we'll be there front center, you know, to support it as much as possible because, like we always say, support your local wrestling. Independent wrestling is a tough business, though. This happens. This happens to the best of them. I mean, you know, Wrestling Circus, what happened to them? They were killing it, right? You know, they're gone. You know, things happen. So best of luck to everybody that was involved in Journey Pro. We're still there. We're still with you. And they still got one more show. They got to finish the Die Hard trilogy. So in December, we got one more Journey Pro show we'll definitely be talking about. But we're going to open it up more. And, you know, give us a comment, give us a tweet, you know, for those of you who have been following along with Journey. For those of you who have not and maybe just want to say any words about your local promotion or anything you've heard at all, please just give us a comment down below. Give us a tweet. Let us know.
Absolutely.
That being said, we still love us some independent wrestling. And every week we like to highlight an independent wrestler that maybe you have heard of, maybe you haven't. Jamie, do you have somebody prepared for this week's Independent Wrestler Spotlight?
I do. I really do. And this person is a Journey Pro alum, and I feel like it's time to give this man his flowers. And
okay,
the easiest thing I could say is he's a goddamn killing machine. The Black Diamond, if you will.
So good.
He is gone from enlightened to ass kicking, and his physique is amazing. His brain buster is next level. It's beautiful. And I'm talking about none other than Luke Langley. And bro, Luke Langley, everybody needs to Google him. He's got some killer matches out there. You can follow him at Luke Langley MD on the Twitters. He is solid. Like, he is a big, strong man.
Big, strong man. Actual doctor, you know, in his shoot job. Luke is somebody that we've seen really grow. He was pre-pandemic is when we first saw him, right? You know, he was part of the Enlightenment with
Mike Seidel.
I was gonna, one of the Seidels, Mike Seidel. I don't know why. I always get the Seidels mixed up. Because Matt and Mike, but Mike Seidel, part of the Enlightenment, and they were a very good rising team. We really enjoyed seeing them, right? Post pandemic, Mike's been doing other stuff out there, of course, right? You know,
he's been doing lots of the AEW.
Yeah, absolutely.
He works for them now.
Absolutely, he's somewhere in that, but it's been good to see him kind of grow on his own because he's got he's got a lot of skill. A lot of charisma, you know, the whole, you know, dark side, you know, turn. It was fantastic the way it was done. So here's hoping to see a lot more from Luke Langley coming forward. Plus, he gave us one of our favorite T-shirts ever.
Like, ever. I mean, it's, you know, the Pantera shirt, Vulgar Display of Power. It's beautiful, but it's him kicking Walter's face. It is just gorgeous. Like, I should have wore it. Now
we definitely should have wore it. I didn't want to pontificate too much about, you know, because like I said, gone but not forgotten. So links down below as always. We're going to get into you know, definitely give Luke a follow. I think you can expect good things from him coming forward here. So very good. All right. So you want to do some spooky season?
Of course. Duh.
That's a rhetorical question here. So we're not gonna avoid it. We going on this. We're doing it all October here. So spooky season. We're gonna get into some scary or some horror movies. And Jamie, why don't you go ahead and go first here, as always?
Okay, so this movie is arguably one of my favorite slasher type movies.
Okay.
And it is called Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. And I've talked about this, I think, to you and some other people briefly before. But basically, it's a mockumentary. It's a mockumentary of these people following around a slasher. Like this guy, like, talks about how he has to keep his cardio up and all this stuff, and he goes and like does the scary things, like to show his presence to the final girl, and she has to be a virgin and all these things, like all the slasher tropes. Like they make fun of it. It's got and the funny thing is, it's got Robert Englund in it as a good guy,
okay,
which is amazing. And if you don't know who Robert Englund is, ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Freddy Krueger. And so this movie is great because it makes fun of the slasher genre itself, but then it like straight turns into a slasher at the very end, and it is exquisite. Like the execution of it, the acting in it was bad, but in the best possible way, because they're supposed to be like college students, so they're not supposed to be like, it just, it had a Blair Witchy vibe, but in a slasher type, and you got to see the bad guy. It was solid. Like, just got announced they're finally making a sequel to it, and it was released in 2016. So almost 20 years later, it's gonna get a sequel, and I'm here for it.
All right.
But damn, you all need to see Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. You will not be disappointed. If you have seen it, send a tweet. Put a comment down below on YouTube, and let's talk about it, because it's amazing.
All right.
And I happened to see the new Pinhead. I saw the new Hellraiser too.
All right. So before I get into mine here, then what were your thoughts? I didn't watch it, of course, but what were your thoughts on the new Hellraiser? Did it hit your expectations? Was it good? What were your thoughts?
It was good. It was real good. I enjoyed 90% of the movie. Okay. I enjoyed the ending a lot. It definitely left it open. And the thing was, it definitely felt more true to the Hellbound Heart, which is Clive Barker's book. With the Cenobites definitely being androgynous, and they did not have names. They did not give them names. There was not Pinhead. It's the Hell Priest and like the Chatterer. There was no Butterball or anything like that. But like all of them had different things.
Right.
I really liked how you had they brought up. I don't want to get into any spoilers on it, but if you know anything about the lore of any of the Hellraisers, it like really set the table about everything really quick, which the original Hellraiser didn't do. So it is a completely different style of movie, and I appreciate that. I really do. Like, I looked at it completely like, this is not a remake. This is its own entity, and because of that, I feel better about it. Because if I try to compare the two, obviously the first one's going to win because it's near and dear to my heart.
Sure.
But that one, I really enjoyed it. I thought it hit all the buttons. Like, there's just a few things I thought some of the acting was terrible. The main person is like a bad person that you just can't root for, but at the end you kind of root for. But at the end, I really was hoping they pick something stupid and die. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, if you watch it, you'll get what I'm saying. Because Riley is a piece of shit. That's all there is to it.
But overall, happy with it, and they are planning on moving forward with more stuff in that universe. I
totally recommend
that
it.
Veil or whatever that they're doing with the new one.
And the thing is they're going to have a Hellraiser series, and I would love for them to use some of the same Cenobites, because two of the main Cenobites, obviously the Hell Priest and this other one who had piercings and stuff like that, those two were excellent. I really enjoyed those two. So it's like, use them, and like you can expand on the Hellbound Heart, and you can even go into the comic books of Hellraiser and like show how they became Cenobites and why they were chosen to become Cenobites and all those things. You know, it's like I don't know, like you can get all sorts of crazy on series, man.
So overall, it was a positive experience then. So good.
Oh, totally.
Good stuff going on here, because that was my biggest concern for you there, because this is your baby, right? You know. And
well, I am a horror snob. I am like
you're specifically a Hellraiser, stan. So it's like,
yeah,
if they screw this up, it's going to be very bad news coming from your
basically
house.
After Bloodline, it got terrible, but it was good up until Bloodline, and then it just got dumb. So yeah, it was nice to recalibrate.
Well, good. Well, that's wonderful to hear. I did not want to go into that because I was not stalling, but I'm not going to lie. We're getting back to a more predictable world for JJ this week here. So okay, all right. So
Train to Busan?
No, not. I told you I'm not doing Train to Busan. For what it's worth, though, if you have not seen Train to Busan, go on Netflix and watch it. One of the best movies there is out there. One of my all-time favorite movies. I mean, it's in general. South Korean zombie fantasticness. But that being said, I'm not veering too far off of the predictable zombie world for my movie of this week, because it's interesting, it's we've talked about before. I very much love the zombie subgenre of horror, but sometimes I feel like, there are some movies that we overestimate, that it's like, oh, everybody's surely seen that one, right? Maybe they haven't, So Romero's work is quintessential. It is the reason that zombie anything exists, right? Okay. That being said, 2004's remake of Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorite zombie movies. The original was done in 1978, and, it was good. It was very good.
It was okay. I thought the original was okay. I thought the remake was superb.
I think the remake was better. They both are very similar in what they did. So zombie outbreak happens, and it follows an original protagonist, but then a group of protagonists who end up barricading themselves within a mall. And when you think about it, that's actually not a terrible idea. You got a big area, you've got a bunch of different things. There's clothing stores, you've got food, you've got, a bunch of room, all that stuff, right? Sporting goods, you're good, but as always happens, shit doth hitteth the fan. And, it was very good. I agree with you. I think it's better than the 1978, the original, version of it. But it held very true to a lot of Romero kind of overtones. And acting was very well done throughout. You had, lots of people in there who you'd recognize. Sarah Polley was the main protagonist. You had Ty What's-His-Face from Family Guy. It was the douchey dude, who
Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames was in there. Yeah. Yep. I mean, lots of good stuff going on in that movie. And, it's like, honestly, it's one of the all around, I think, good zombie movies for enthusiasts and for casual fans. And, yes, maybe it's low-hanging fruit. I know, folks, okay?
That was kind of low-hanging fruit, but it's a good one.
But truth be told, like I said, I was trying to think of, it's like some of the other zombie movies I like are, I wasn't going to do Train to Busan, like I said, because I feel like that one is just so good that everybody should see that in general, right? But so Dawn of the Dead 2004 is my movie of the week. So
that's a solid one, man. Like, I love that movie. It's good. And any movie that's got a Richard Cheese version of any kind of song gets my vote. And Richard Cheese covered Down with the Sickness in that movie. I don't know if anybody knows that. And Richard Cheese is the lounge singer who sings the pop songs and whatnot. But yeah,
there was well, they had that and the original, because the original was down with the sickness was what ran through the credits at the end. So
Yeah, the very end. Yeah.
Anyway, very good. Go check out both those movies there. We'll have more spooky season movies. Hopefully I'll find another one here that isn't as obvious next week.
I can lend you 18 or 20.
You could lend me a couple hundred, I know. But no, I'm going to do this. I know I can do this. So, hey, first 2 weeks.
Zombie, I got you.
First 2 weeks I nailed it out of the park, but I might be just straight zombie from here on out. We'll figure it out. I got a couple more weeks going on. So, it is what it is. All right. Speaking of zombies, you see who came back from the dead in WWE this past weekend?
Which one? It seems like people are coming back left and right.
Well, that's not an incorrect statement, though. No. Well, WWE had their Extreme Rules pay-per-view over the weekend, and I watched a good part of it. You know, I wasn't happy with the way they did Liv on the Liv Morgan.
Yeah, but that's long-term storytelling, and I saw it and I appreciated it.
I did not. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't happy just because I think that's not over, but it is. I mean, all the promotional material WWE's been doing has had Roman Reigns and Liv Morgan on it, so you know I'm happy with that. But other than that, they have some good matches. The pay-per-view ended with a fight pit match, which we've only seen once before in NXT. I mean, Triple H is like full hands on this motherfucker, right? He's just like, no, this is my shit, right? And
that's why ratings are through the roof for them right now, comparatively.
Comparatively, definitely. And you actually watched some, Raw in the past few weeks. It's been that's saying a lot.
That is saying a lot for me. And, ladies and gentlemen, hot take time. Hot take time with Jamie. Their product's pretty good right now. I don't like admitting that. Especially after how bad it went.
It was real bad.
It's been 18 months. 18 months since I've watched any kind of legit sat down and wanted to watch it.
Wow.
18 months. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Wanted to watch it. And I'm going to watch Friday because Bray's on SmackDown. I want to see what's up there.
It's the thing. Bray Wyatt's back. And, is not the best kept secret. The whole white rabbit shtick they've been doing. It's like, yeah, that's definitely Bray Wyatt. That's 100% Bray Wyatt. But it was still great seeing it happen. The way it broke down. The real life kind of like avatars of Mercy the Buzzard and the rest of the Firefly Funhouse, right? That was cool. And he came out with the mask on, took it off, and it's just Bray Wyatt. No,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I figure you can't bring him back, and the Fiend character was a place in time, right? Just Bray Wyatt, and that place, even though they knew it was coming. You couldn't even hear what he said because it was deafening. And
so my question to you then on this, because I did want to dive into this Bray Wyatt thing for a second.
Let's do it. Let's go.
So I know we typically talk WWE, ladies and gentlemen, but this has just got my attention. Do you think that the Fiend is not necessarily dead, but he's kind of like the demon character for Finn, and that he might get bust out every now and again? Do you feel like that's something that they might do with that, or do you think they're going to go a completely different direction?
I think mostly they're going a completely different direction, but I don't think they rule it out. As part of the whole reveal of it, and there's been all this stuff on Twitter I've seen about the Wyatt 6, whatever the fuck that means. I don't feel like. I mean, to be even at its core, remember during the pandemic when they had the Firefly Funhouse, whatever the match was between John Cena and Wyatt, where it was cinematic
one,
and it was fucking fantastic,
Yeah.
I don't feel like the Fiend is off the table, even though, truth be told, I don't believe we'll really see it. Maybe once or twice. But part of the whole like reveal of him at Extreme Rules involved, like I said, Mercy the Buzzard, Huskus the Pig, you had Rabbling Rabbit, Sister Abigail, and then somebody in the front row dressed as the Fiend, and then Wyatt came out, right? Do you think we're gonna get the Fiend? I mean, what is your thought on that?
I personally feel like the Fiend will be bust out every now and again for special occasions. I feel like if they need a rating spike, here comes the Fiend. You know, I feel like they're going to be really smart about it in that aspect of using that not necessarily as the crutch that Vince McMahon did and just completely circumvent any kind of creative freedom that Bray had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it's going to be more of, hey, Bray, what do you think about bringing the Fiend back in 6 months or something like that for a one-time thing? Great, let me get to work on it. Because my understanding from what I've read is Bray's got a lot of creative freedom right now, and he's going to use it because he is a creative genius.
Should have that freedom.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things, man. Like I want it to be successful. I think Bray intrigues me. You know, like I've always liked Bray Wyatt. You know, I didn't necessarily dig on the Fiend as much. I enjoyed the Firefly Funhouse for a minute, and then just kind of got dumb. You know, because it got watered down. It definitely got watered down. And I think if Bray stays there and does his thing, I think we'll be fine. And
if he's given that, I mean, and I feel like he has been, you know, I mean, for what it's worth, you know, the Firefly Funhouse I really liked. The whole Fiend character lost its appeal to me very quickly. Because it first came out, it was cool. And then after the second time it came out, I was like, I'm over this, right? I remember you and our old young boy, you know, were like, especially our old young boy, like really into it. I'm like, you know. And then when they gave him the title and then made the title, like when they made the title a giant Fiend face, that's when it lost its, really, I gave up on it because I'm like, fuck this is stupid, you know.
So, who have you heard some of the names that they're associating with the Wyatt Six?
I've heard quite a bit. I've heard Seth Rollins, which I don't really get. I've heard Liv Morgan.
That makes a lot of sense, especially after what happened.
Well, here's the thing. She's gone black on her social media, so I'm really into that. I've heard Bo Dallas because Bo Dallas is officially back, reportedly back in WWE. Of some ilk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Eric Redbeard or Eric Rowan coming back.
I've heard about that potentially. I've heard that, you know, Vincent was backstage at Raw this past week is what I heard. I don't know if, you know, it was kind of insinuated. I don't really buy into him, you know, being back, but he would fit that, even though he is kind of the same. I mean, he's sort of the similar character to what Bray Wyatt is, really, right?
Yeah. So like, there's rumors that Grayson Waller and Joe Gacy are in there as well.
I've heard that. I think that people were looking at the body shapes of the people who were the Wyatt Six,
shapes, if you will.
You know, they're like, oh, that looks like that's tall there. That could be Grayson Waller. That could be Joe Gacy.
And Dexter Lumis is in there, which I would love to see Dexter Lumis actually a part of that. He fits perfectly.
He does, but he's actually, I really enjoy him going into the creepy stalker thing against the Miz. Let's
it's kind of fun.
It is very much the wheelhouse of Dexter Lumis. He did this past week, like embarrassed Maurice, and then sat in the ring and ate cake by himself, which was wonderful. I don't know. I mean, what would you think if it was some of these NXT, you know, people they're bringing up, some of these newer NXT people?
That's a good rub to have, man. That is a great rub to have.
I mean, when they started the whole NXT 2.0 experiment, let's call it that, you know, we never said that talent, like athletic talent, was the issue, right?
Wrestling talent was a problem.
Wrestling talent was a problem. So
They couldn't wrestle.
And some of
Still
them
can't.
and some of them proved us wrong, right? You know, you had Carmelo Anthony, for example, right? Like, okay, some of y'all stepped up, but a lot of them were like, whatever.
I know you're not big on Nikita Lyons, but she can wrestle.
am not big on Nikita Lyons at all.
I'm a fan.
Good for you.
I like Cora Jade, obviously, because we've seen her in Elena Black.
Yeah, I like her going back to her darker character.
Same.
There's a lot of good stuff in NXT going on there. Some of it still kind of. I still wait for them to like fully make a makeover. Like they have the whole. They got rid of the 2.0. They got black and gold, right? Ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
Variation.
I want to see them actually get back into making it more what it should be, and I think you will. I mean, NXT is Shawn Michaels' baby now, right?
Yep, it's Shawn's.
So, I think we'll get there eventually. Well, you guys
and
let
Shawn,
us.
I trust.
Of course you do. How could you not? He's your guy. No. He's your guy. Did you see the whole like NXT 25-year thing? Or the NXT, the DX 25-year thing.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It was okay. It was definitely one of those. Just like, all right. Guys.
I enjoyed the cheese factor.
There's a little bit of cheese too. I like some of their backstage stuff. I got out to the ring there. It's like, okay, guys, yeah, we get it. It's time to move on though. Let's move the fuck on.
Yeah.
Can't just every 5 years come out there. They're just 5 years older. It's like, okay, stop this right now.
Yeah. And still no one likes X-Pac.
Well, you guys let us know what your thoughts are on Bray Wyatt, Wyatt 6. Did you catch Extreme Rules? Have you been watching WWE? Give us some of your thoughts. I agree with you, Jamie. It has definitely piqued my interest more, and I am not as much of a hater anymore. I did not watch all of Extreme Rules, but I do plan on sitting down and watching Survivor Series when it happens.
Yeah, I think I'm going to. Like, legit. Like, I'm going to resubscribe to Peacock because I got rid of it.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have War Games at Survivor Series, too. So
War Games!
War Games!
God bless it.
I know.
I already miss him. I already miss him.
Well, he's somewhere else, so let's talk about it. So AEW debuted in Canada,
and oh my God, Canada was ready for AEW.
No standing room only. I mean, they were ready like a motherfucker. So let's get into it, man. What do you want to talk about?
So there's 3 things that Canadians love: hockey, beer,
and poutine. Oh.
Professional wrestling. Started with the P.
That was close.
And my God, this crowd was hot. But this night, I want to say this night was promo heavy in all the right ways.
I'm with you.
There were some really, really good promos. The matches were great. Like that Pac Orange Cassidy match. Holy shit.
I'm glad they did that as the main event because everything on paper looked like you were going to do the way it was all. You were going to do Jericho versus Danielson 3 as the main event. And I'm glad they did it.
Yeah. In Canada.
Very good.
Like,
right.
I'm glad they didn't as well. The women's match was solid. Like all the matches were really good. Like, and I tweeted this out earlier. I do want to start here.
Okay.
So Swerve and Billy Gunn.
Daddy ass.
And can we just admire the fact that I know Billy Gunn's been around with his boys and everything, but he hasn't really been like big until Daddy Ass came about from the Acclaimed and Danhausen, obviously. But I made this tweet earlier, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
All right.
The Acclaim are to Billy Gunn as Pulp Fiction was to John Travolta.
That's okay. That's a very interesting take. I actually really like that take.
Think about that for just a second.
Because you're talking about the resurgence of one's career, a large time since they were last on top of the game.
Yeah.
That's a very smart take on it. I agree. Hey, I'm with you there on that, man. That's yeah. Because Pulp Fiction, for those of you who maybe weren't around when it came out, sorry.
You youngins.
Babies. Fucking children. Pulp Fiction, when it came out and hit theaters, like, it was at very, very first, it was one of those, because Tarantino was one kind of those off-the-cuff directors, right? But in very short order became, like, the hot thing, right? It's like, if you didn't see Pulp Fiction, who the fuck were you, right?
Yeah, lava hot.
It was lava hot there, and it took John Travolta from, because he wasn't doing, you know, big in the late 70s, early 80s, right? You know, into fucking nothing. And like they're doing like shit projects, right? Throughout the later 90s, 80s and everything. And then it took him, and it's like, holy shit, you know, just, you know, I'm with you. Yeah. I'm there. I like the analogy. I dig it. This match was interesting.
It was fun.
It was interesting too, when you consider that he was not, of course, he was not there for the DX reunion, right, on Raw.
Really? Interesting.
But he is also the oldest of the 5.
Yeah.
And he had a match against Swerve Strickland, which was...
And he looked jacked.
I mean, he absolutely looked good. And the match was fantastic. I mean, I can't really think of a bad match on this whole episode. If I had to point one out, maybe it was Wardlow and Samoa Joe going up against QT and Nick Camarado, but that wasn't terrible either, you know? That served a good story purpose of what you're doing with you know, especially with FTR, right? You know?
And bringing back Sean Spears with the 10 gimmick, which I am here for. And like, as soon as I saw him come, like, oh, him and Wardlow grab some shit. Like, I'm like, let's go. Like, there's gonna be some underlying shit. Like, we could make this into a thing. Nope, it was all cool. They just looked at each other, gave each other a hug, and it was fine. I'm like, man.
But that possibility is there. That possibility is there, you know. So, I don't know. It's like, you know, all in all, I felt like, you know, for their first show in Canada, I feel like they did very excellent. Of course, you made mention
up there.
They definitely need me more up there. I would like to see a show in Montreal. Montreal's a great wrestling city, you know.
So is Winnipeg.
You know, get them out in Central and Western Canada. I was gonna say Kansas, Canada. Don't go to Central and Western Kansas. There's fucking nothing, but Canada do.
Yeah.
Could use 2 women's matches, Tony.
But what they're doing with Nyla Rose right now is making my heart happy.
For what it's worth, like here's okay. Let's get on that, because it's a continuation of kind of what we talked about last week. Still only one women's match. For what it's worth, Raw had 1 women's match in 3 hours of Raw last week. So
yeah,
par for the course, it feels like. But 1 women's match, a tag match. Of course, featuring Tony Storm.
The same players.
More, basically. But lots of additional supporting stuff around it. So, Nyla Rose, you talked about it. How glorious. Because I don't know, we don't really talk about Rampage too much on here.
We don't.
Rampage is... This past week, so they had Rampage plus Battle of the Bells. They had 2 full hours on Friday night. It was all good stuff. Nothing major really happened, except Nyla Rose up and stole, like legitimately, like stole the TBS title.
From Jade. Like, it was great. And like, they haven't done that trope in so long. Like, I miss that. Like, you steal the belt and they have to win it back from you. Like, oh, dude. Like, or they just win it. Like, this maybe this is 39-1. Maybe
It
Nyla's
could
the one.
be.
And does that make Nyla the face?
I feel like they're making this whole thing is making Nyla face, which we said they should probably do because other than her, and then you will figure out something with the whole like Marina Shafir thing. Even though I really like her and Marina as a tag together, they can
Same here.
Whatever, make her lackey, whether she's face or heel doesn't matter. But the only this has happened once in AEW's history thus far. It was when Brody Lee stole Jon Moxley's AEW title, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't end up winning it, but we had a fantastic blow off for it. I feel like what Nyla's been doing has been so face anyway. She's been the comedy on Twitter and all this stuff, this and that. I feel like it's needed to combat the one-notedness of Jade. Jade is marketable as shit. I get that. You gotta mix it up though. And I feel like Nyla is great at doing that. I still love it too, how she did the whole Christopher Columbus tweet about
yeah. And then
she is Native American.
Yeah, the other thing I really enjoyed about that too, when she said Vicky, she's like Vicky, wow, let's remix this bitch. I'm like, oh my god. Nyla Rose is a national treasure, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
And she should be treated as such. Her Twitter game is second to none. And honestly, if she brings that personality to her promos...
Oh, she's already brought to her character. I mean, she wrestled in a Nyla Rose Freakazoid gear on Dark this week.
That's right.
It's so good. A Freakazoid styled with the F, with the NR instead of the big F. I mean... Let's go, Nyla Rose. I am all about it. But I'm with you. I feel like even though they had one match, and there's a lot of stuff around the women's division, I feel they're doing well. Of course, there was nothing about Ruby because she's still recovering from no surgery. Hey, Ruby. But like I said, I feel like they're moving in the right path, and even Like, here's the funny thing. I want to get your take on this because last week's Dynamite, which we weren't necessarily the biggest supporters of last week's show, right?
That's fair.
It did get over 1 million again, right? So they dipped down 2 weeks ago. They got over 1 million last week. And we were trying to solve Dynamite last week, right? We were talking a lot about, is it missing the elite? What will make this, what will do this? Apparently, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about because they did better last week than they did the week before. Do you feel like, to kind of continue on what we talked about last week, do you feel like we need the elite back? Or are the strides of what they're doing and the way they're moving? You had Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus. So you had Jungle Boy lost, of course, but, he's featured on there. You had Orange Cassidy win a title, right? Nyla Rose doing the thing here. You've, of course, got we talked about the women's division. The acclaimed most over people in wrestling. Do you feel like we
losing scissoring?
I know. Do you feel like we need? Yeah. Because Smart Mark, has got the trademark of scissoring. But do you feel like we need Let's continue on with that discussion from last week. Do you feel like we actually do need this, or were you and I overreacting? Yes.
No, I still feel like. So this is awesome. They're building up and everything.
Okay.
But okay, so they're here, right? And if they could stay here without the elite, and when the elite come in, it'll boop. I feel like it'll get them up to that next level.
That 1.5 we were talking about, because you got to hit you got to hit 1 million, 1, 2, and then you get 1.5, 1.5, and then you can get up to 2, right?
So we were not giving AEW enough credit, because this is the best possible thing that could actually happen to them as a company.
Mm-hmm.
Their big dogs are basically gone. Like the ones who have been deemed their money makers are gone. CM Punk, don't know if he's ever coming back. The Elite,
they'll be back.
Don't even know about them. But they were selling Canadian Elite merchandise there, interestingly enough.
They'll be back. But Cutler's already on back. Once the legal stuff, which okay, we'll get into that itself, but they'll be back, I believe.
I do too. But the thing is like they're having to do this without it, and then like,
which is good.
Which brings me to what we're going to talk about with the Hangman Moxley thing. Like, can we build a story like that more fucking often? Because that's what's driving people to watch this stuff. That program right there is excellent TV.
It's why you have Moxley in this company. Why you fucking hired his wife, as a matter of fact. We didn't even get a shout out. Congratulations, Renee Paquette. Finally, like the most predictable like outcome. Oh yeah, Renee Paquette's in AEW.
She signed. Mox signed a 5-year extension, and he was on a handshake deal. They said he was wrestling for a few weeks without a contract.
Yeah, amazing considering how hot he is right now. He's in the prime of his career.
Yeah,
wow.
And he got paid. And like then you have MJF
I'm pretty sure the
over
baby's
here.
got a contract now too. It's
probably. But like, my God, like what they're doing right now is beautiful. Like to your point, they might not need the elite right now, but they're gonna, and that's gonna take them to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really believe that because Kenny is a draw. But they're drawing with what they have now, and that is impressive as hell because they do have good people, and they're finally exploiting their goodness. Like, hey, who's really over right now? Oh, I don't know. The Acclaimed, Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley, and Adam Hangman Page. Let's get them on TV. Oh, what do all the teenage and 40, 50-year-old single guys like? Oh, they like Jamie Hayter and they like Tony Storm. Okay, let's put them on TV. I know that sounds. I'm objectifying them. I know that's incorrect. Everybody knows me about that, but like that's what sells right now. That's what they're doing.
Unfortunately, you're right. Yes, you're 100% correct.
You know, it's just one of those things. Like if you want to watch women's wrestling, unfortunately, right now you got to watch Dark.
And as a 42-year-old 41-year-old single man, I will confirm that. Yes, I like watching Jamie Hayter. Yes, okay, and Tony Storm. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
So I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, but no, they're doing what they're doing the recipe to get views, and then they're adding texture to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to continue to grow. I think this is the best thing to happen. As long as they can get rid of all the damn drama, everything should be good.
Well, I think the drama will work itself out. I think that we talked about last week. You know, it's like we talked about the role of JR, you know, where's JR been? What do we believe JR has been? You know, this and that.
Who shot JR? What?
It was Excalibur, right? No,
That's
but
right.
I think you've got others involved there. Tony Schiavone is a veteran. You've got, you know, I think that you've got the components there to kind of like right that ship from a logistical standpoint. Tony has already made leaps and bounds in that. And I say Tony because, for what it's worth, for the longest time, this was the Tony Khan show, right? He wanted to have everything on his shoulders, and that was not the best move at all.
Mm-mm.
So I think he's definitely right at the first time when he expanded talent relations, and I think it's getting better and better.
I agree.
I think that our fear of what they weren't doing, they were actually doing the whole time. And you just made mention of it, you know. Like they have the young talent, and if they want to succeed long term, they need to prove that they can develop, promote, and, you know, elevate that talent. The Acclaimed, Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy, even though he's been around the independent circuit for a long time, you know, but Orange Cassidy, Jamie Hayter's the most over woman right now in AEW. Regardless, heel face does not matter.
Mm-mm.
You know, Jade Cargill they built from scratch. You know, so I feel like you're right. And Kenny Omega comes back, it's going to be a massive splash. But you also, while they have some legal stuff that they're trying to sort through, which did you love? Okay, so small tangent here. So the report came out that apparently there was one party involved in this whole backstage drama that was threatening legal action. And it was just delaying, all the return of everybody. And it was not said who. But every single thing I saw or tweeted or read about it is like, oh, yeah, it's CM Punk.
Oh, for sure. Like,
it's very much him. I mean,
I don't want to get into that, but
Phil is just
feels it.
Fuck Phil. I hate to say this, but my initial instinct on him, pre him coming back, was right. I want to get him benefit of doubt, but
I'm man enough to say you're right. At this point,
I mean, I wanted to give him the benefit of doubt. He came back, he did all this. I was all for it. I was good. Maybe it's different. He talks about this. Okay, great. He's gonna be for the. Nope. Same CM. Hey, you leave Ring of Honor in a hasty manner. All the fallout from your end of WWE, and then but this and that, and 7 years of dog shit, and then whatever, come back to aid. I mean, hey, fool us once, whatever. This is the third time. So somebody tells you who they are, believe them. But whenever Kenny Omega does show back up, I agree with you. Like the Young Bucks could be massive pop too. Whenever Kenny Omega comes back, because by this time he was going to be fully fucking healed too. He can come in at the end of pay-per-view, say Revolution next year, whatever it is. That's going to be, to your point, you've taken these steps. Moxie's now your guy, right? Company-wise, he is the guy. You've still got Danielson there. Jericho's Jericho. You've got these young kids. Garcia's going to be on that level very soon, right? Wheeler Yuta's not far behind. MJF will probably be champion by the beginning of the year. You've got good building that you've been doing, and then you bring back the best wrestler in the world, right? Icing on cake. That's how you get from 1 to 1-2 to 1-1-5 to competing with Raw's 1.8, which they got this past week.
Yeah, I mean, the best bout machine is the best bout machine.
100%.
For a reason. So speaking of Moxley, speaking of AEW's Ace.
Yeah, let's go for it.
That's what the... Can we talk about that promo between him and Hangman for a hot second?
Which one you got? You want to talk on just in general or Moxley's side? I thought Hangman's side was fucking fire.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, okay, Moxley's was good.
It was good. It was what you expect from Mox. Ooh.
Dropped a bomb. Like not.
Oh, you're talking about the reference to the Dark Order disappearing and how his old friends have already disappeared.
Have also disappeared. Yeah. Yeah, like they're doing a little inside baseball between their two promos. Like, hey, you're a good kid, you're a sweet kid. Like on the one before, the reference to Sammy, right? Well, in this one, like they were totally getting at it, like I will die for this. I will do everything. Like like they were getting after it. Like hell, Hangman punched his head so much he caused himself to bleed. And then he rubbed the blood on Moxley's white t-shirt. I'm like, fuck, that's good. Like I got goosebumps. Like that's how you build a match over just 2 weeks. I'm more vested in that match than the CM Punk match for All Out. By far, I'm more invested in this.
I think this is staying power too, because I don't think it's the end of it. Whatever happens on Tuesday, because it's going to be a Tuesday Dynamite. You can thank the NHL and Major League Baseball for that, but
yeah,
I mean, I agree with you. I think that this has got some staying power, and I know you and I both know that it's MJF in line for Full Gear, right?
No,
I don't. Well, that's what we had said before, right? That was our plan. That was like obviously the plan. I don't know anymore. I mean,
I think
this is the right thing to do with Hangman This is the full realization of the Hangman character from the beginning of AEW. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So putting on my Mark Stradamus hat.
There you go. Let's go to it.
So Moxley and Hangman are going to have a fight next week, right?
That's confirmed in Cleveland. Yes, sir.
Cincinnati.
Whatever. Ohio. Fuck, who cares?
And so far, people in their hometown are undefeated. So here's the thing. I think this will be the first defeat.
Really?
I think Hangman will win.
I think Hangman's going to get the title.
Yeah, I think he'll win. Maybe not with the title, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, there might be some shenanigans afoot.
It's a
Something
title
happens.
match, though.
Yeah, but DQ?
If he wins, he wins the title.
DQ. Something.
Okay. All right. You're going deep.
Something
all
with
right. Go for
three
it.
letters.
Go for it.
Something with 3 letters might get involved and cost them the match. Which we'll get to that in a minute.
Right, I'm with you.
So that will go into Full Gear. They'll make this the main event for Full Gear.
Triple threat?
No.
They'll
Those
make
two.
Moxley, Hanger. Okay.
Hanger officially wins the belt. Right then and there.
Cash in.
MJF cashes the chip in.
Cash in. Okay.
And gets the win. MJF's your new champion coming out of Full Gear.
And then you got longevity stay because you've got Hanger mad at MJF, Moxley mad at MJF still too.
Well,
everybody
Moxley was supposed to have some time off, so this would be a perfect time to give him said time off.
They did just hire his wife. I just want to say that.
Well, yeah, but he could hang out with the baby.
Okay, just have so it's Renee's turn to work, and then he goes home. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way.
And she only works one day a week.
We have not confirmed that. All right, we have not confirmed that.
I know.
I am running away from that statement right now.
I mean, moms work 24/7, 365, and I know that for a fact. So she's always working, but like her
I love how
job,
you quickly realized your blunder. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, she's gonna be on television one night a week.
Well, we don't know that either because there's
maybe
2 nights
two,
of television.
Maybe 4. We don't know yet. So it's just one of those things. I don't think she'll announce the.
If TK is smart, she'd be on there, on the desk at least every Friday. No offense to Taz and whatever, but
I love me some Taz. Though Taz on the mic's great.
Renee
like him on Dark is so great.
How about Taz and Renee together?
That'd be fun. Like give Excalibur a little
give
time
Excalibur a little time off, right? Like, okay, you don't need to do everything all the time, Excalibur. Let's let Renee in there because she is gold on the mic.
Yeah, so I'm in on that. But that is my Mark Stradamus.
All right, well, let's see what transpires. You guys give us your word. Are you into this as we are? Because, I mean, like I said, this went from something that I was kind of like, oh, really? They're just going to throw Hanger in there to like, no, I'm invested now. You know, especially being what they've, I mean, it's one of those things I look back and I see all the subtleties they put into that with the Dark Order stuff, right? You know, especially with the Dark Order stuff. And while we could talk about the truth in his statement about the Dark Order, we're not going to right now. I feel like everything there is just expertly done. I agree. This is the full realization of what Hangman Adam Page was from the founding of AEW.
Yeah. This is the hanger that we've all been waiting for. Like we got him this time last year. We got him this time last year on his march to get in the belt. And then it died after that because they didn't know what to do. I feel like they have a solid plan moving forward because then you have a built-in feud with him and MJF. And then you could have those two going at it for a while. MJF officially conquers it. Cue up Moxley to come right back. Bam, you got Moxley and MJF going at it for a while.
And then out of nowhere, here comes
Cue up Omega.
By God, Omega.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm glad you've
North Carolina.
I'm glad you had your time to shine. That's, you know, this is my world though, kid, you know.
Yeah.
I think that, like, imagine like they set that up for All Out next year. MJF Omega. That's long-term booking. That's like a Chicago Italian beef, fully wet. I mean, just it makes you just water at the mouth, man. Oh
yeah. So let's talk about MJF's promo.
MJF?
Can we just go right into that promo?
Sure.
That was electric as well.
MJF has not missed since he's come back, in my opinion.
He is not. And this one was even more of the tease of the face turn, which I know just as much as you do that we both aren't buying it for 1 second.
Not happening. It's not happening. I mean, I think it's more of teasing of the break with Stokely and whatever the fuck is the firm or whatever the hell fuck they're called, right?
But like, I mean, the whole line of I've broken this hand so many times from punching a mirror because I don't like the person I see, and I don't like the guy who goes through the curtain either, and all that stuff. I'm like, no, he's digging in deep, like he's fighting his demons because he knows that he has to be a bad guy to win, and all this stuff. Like,
bullshit. 100%. I've seen this game before, and he's playing that. He's banging that drum perfectly.
Oh yeah, you can't bullshit a bullshitter.
But I appreciate him going down the path. Let's be real.
It was powerful. Like again, like he is just hook, line, sinker, getting people in.
Absolutely.
Like the payoff's gonna be beautiful when he screws over somebody next week, which I full on believe it's 100% guarantee it's happening. In my heart of hearts, I feel like that's happening. And that match doesn't.
I mean, they have laid too much groundwork of featuring him in the luxury box, watching every one of these matches that's been happening between two of them for the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is. Right?
It's either going to be him or the firm does it, and then you get the break of the firm, whatever. So then you have a feud with the firm going on at Full Gear as well. So like that whole thing with MJF. So MJF's the face or whatever. Then he cashes in his chip at the end of the night and gets it. So like you'll have 2 payoffs.
Right, and even if they do that, I think there might be a swerve involved, like the feud with the firm, but maybe it was all set up by him and the firm so that
it was a ruse the entire time. Absolutely.
100%. That makes the most sense.
I'm here for it.
You guys let us know. Fantasy book this shit for us too. If you agree with Jamie and his Mark Stradamus ramblings here, if you think there's other stuff afoot, MJF and Hanger, what are your opinions of Hanger? Do you agree with us? Is this the fully fledged Hanger is this the Hanger we've known we've long deserved to have, or do you prefer a different? Do you think there's more to it? Give us a comment down below. Hit us up on Twitter at Total Spotfest. Let us know. Anything else you want to get to?
All the matches were great. Like Luchasaurus won, as you know, due to shenanigans. Mm-hmm. The women's match was solid. Like it was just a good night. It was a solid night. And
there wasn't really there wasn't really a downer in the entire episode. It was for their Canada debut. They did solid throughout the whole show, which is great.
Hit it out of the park, if you ask me.
Which is all you need to do, right? It's like. It doesn't have to be like the greatest show ever has been on the face of the earth, but every segment was fantastic. And I didn't really, like I said, I couldn't really find like a down part of the show.
I mean, it was literally like watching the Philadelphia Phillies going up against the Cardinals. You can go
fuck yourself. All right, so we're moving swiftly on from that. All right.
They couldn't miss.
For what it's worth, that's also the Philadelphia Phillies going up against who are they playing now in the second round? I mean,
Dodgers.
No, they're not playing the Dodgers.
No, they're not the Dodgers. The other side.
Braves.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, they're doing the same thing to the Braves they did to the Cardinals. I mean, although okay, we're not getting into that. All right,
no baseball.
At least the Cardinals weren't in the playoffs. I just want to say that. Third straight year they choked in the playoffs, but still.
Hey, Royals were out April 1st. So
I was going to say October. What the fuck are you talking about, October?
Yeah. As soon as the season ended, they're already out the next year.
Yeah, well, hopefully, Royals get get a worthy coach, and we'll see where they go from there. So enough baseball. We'll be back next week with more wrestling, though. So, like we said, we're going to be going into the month over to St. Louis, over to Jamie's favorite place. We're going to St. Louis. Maybe stop and get some emos. We don't know yet. It is a. Are you into emos at all? Can you do?
Not really.
Oh, it's so good.
It's the cheese.
What's wrong? Okay, Provel. There's nothing wrong with Provel cheese, man.
It's not real cheese.
Bullshit. It's mozzarella and provolone combined. That's what Provel is. It's two cheeses. The blend, it's a mixture of two cheeses. It is how is it? So you're saying that mozzarella is not real cheese and provolone is not a real cheese?
Oh, no, those two by themselves are.
So
are
you put them together, it negates them
cheese.
being a cheese. Fucking where's the logic in that? Somebody tell me. Somebody tweet me. Where's the logic in that?
So is government cheese really cheese?
What's in government cheese?
No one knows.
Nobody fucking knows. I know what's in Provel cheese. It's provolone and mozzarella combined. It's a blend of two cheeses. It's two cheeses combined into one cheese. It's a cheese. I don't get. It's just a very.
You don't get that fucking with you right now.
Yeah, you can't beat me on this. You cannot win this.
So easy to twist you up, man. It is so easy.
Well, the thing is, because I hear that so much from people, especially Chicago people. They go, "Well, it's not real cheese." I'm like, "No, how is it not real cheese? It's cheese. It's fucking cheese." Anyway, I'm driving, so I think we have to go to Emo's now. You can just get toasted ravioli and be fine. But all right, we're going to Glory Pro end of the month. Hope to see you guys there. I tell you what, hey, if anybody out there, we're definitely we might be coming with friends too. We don't know for sure yet, but Glory Pro coming up here end of the month, and then who knows where we're gonna go turn up to next? Like I said, there's definitely one more Journey Pro show we got into the year, but we were definitely out there, and you guys hit us up if there's a promotion you want us to maybe investigate, not too far away, from Kansas City. We're all for it. So
I'll go. Marco Stunt's got that one down in Cape Girardeau.
I'm Cape Girardeau's. I could do Cape Girardeau. That's.
Then we can go across the border and get me some Yinglings and come back. But
you're going to be able to get Yinglings in Missouri pretty soon. Jamie actually texted me out yesterday because he had heard. He texted me a link to an article that said Yinglings is going to start distribution in Missouri soon, which probably means St. Louis, which is going to drive him crazy. But
I was excited, ladies and gentlemen.
It's Yinglings is like, Jamie's not a big drinker, but he loves him some Yinglings when he's drinking beer. So, we got off the rails here. I don't know where we are anymore, man. So anyway,
I don't even know.
Stuff coming up here. You guys let us know, what you thought about Dynamite. Also, listen, give us a shout. Let us know if there's some promotions you want us to look at, this and that. We haven't talked about this. When we get into this next week, we've actually been really into WoW lately. Jamie and I have been talking a lot off camera about WoW. So
big fans of WoW.
For what it's worth, now I know it's syndicated. It's basically in 100% of cable homes as opposed to roughly a third. But it's also doing 3 times the numbers that Impact Wrestling is.
Isn't that insane?
I love that. I hate that for Impact because I feel Impact deserves better numbers, but they're on a shit TV deal. The company that owns them owns that network, though, so it is what it is. But WoW doing that, and they have the highest percent of the female demo in wrestling. More
as they should.
Women in the key demo watch WoW than watch AEW or WWE. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I am very excited for that.
I'm very excited about it. Here before too long, Wrecking Ball will be making her debut.
She's gonna come in like a wrecking ball.
She is.
She never meant to hurt, me, but or you.
Yeah.
All she wanted to do was just, I'm stop.
Jesus.
Stop
No.
now.
No. We were doing so good.
Yeah, but she just wrecks me. She wrecked me.
Stop. No, but Wrecking Ball is going to be making her debut. Her and there's also Rena Del Rey. Looking forward to seeing her as well.
Mm-hmm.
She actually just had her first match against Leah Makoa. I think that's how you say it. Makoa. I don't know.
You're close enough.
Just murdering her. I'm murdering it. Sorry, guys.
I like seeing Razor on there. She's been doing
Razor's great.
Somebody who we have seen before in another iteration, but she's been doing fantastic work on there.
Yep. No, it's good stuff, man. Like, get yourself watching some WoW. Full show.
So we'll definitely talk more about that probably coming up here in the very near future. But in the meantime, I think that's what we got. You got anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm golden.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, we do appreciate your time. If you're still with us here, definitely, like I said, always, if you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Give us a follow down below. It definitely helps out a bit. Otherwise, you definitely could share this as well. And I feel like Jamie's gonna act out whatever I say. So if I say he's having
I'll have a bell. Click notifications.
Get the bell. Do the thing. We'll be back next week. Same back time, same back channel. We do have more interviews lined up coming up here soon. So I feel as the winter comes, we're definitely going to get more going on with us. Keep an eye out. Follow us on Twitter. We'll definitely make that known to you ahead of time. And if nothing else, we'll see you guys in December. Yeah, as a proper send off to our friends over at Journey Pro. So
absolutely,
Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 4 words for you. Scissor me, daddy niece.
That's legally compliant. He's doing right there, ladies and gentlemen.
I do what I can.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.